3 in the morning. You're awake again, staring at the ceiling. Your alarm goes off in 3 hours. You'll hit snooze twice, rush through your morning, sit in the same traffic, walk into the same job, have the same conversations. Come home exhausted. Scroll your phone, go to bed, repeat. This is your life. But it doesn't feel like your life. It feels like a life you stumbled into, a script someone else wrote, a role you're playing but never auditioned for. You look at your social media feed. Everyone else seems to have it figured out, living boldly, taking risks, building businesses, traveling, thriving. And you're stuck. Not in a bad life, necessarily, just not the life you imagined when you were younger, when you still believed anything was possible. The worst part? You know exactly what needs to change. You've known for years. But knowing doesn't equal doing. And another year passes, another version of yourself that never quite emerges. If this resonates, if you've ever felt like you're living a rough draft instead of your final version, this video is for you. Today, we're breaking down Redesign Yourself by Deepak Gupta, a powerful blueprint for personal transformation that shows you exactly how to stop living on autopilot and start designing the life you actually want. Not someday, starting today. Let's begin. Chapter 2. Direct Answer. The core message. So what does it mean to redesign yourself? Here's the straightforward answer. Redesigning yourself means taking intentional control of your identity, beliefs, habits, and environment to create the person you want to become, rather than accepting the person circumstances made you. It's about recognizing that you are not fixed. Your personality, capabilities, and life trajectory are all malleable and within your control to reshape. Deepak Gupta argues that most people live reactive lives, shaped by others' expectations and past programming. But transformation happens when you become the architect of your own identity. The book provides a practical framework for identifying who you've been, deciding who you want to be, and systematically closing that gap through mindset shifts, environmental design, and consistent action. In simpler terms, you're not stuck being who you are today. You can redesign every aspect of yourself starting right now. Let me show you exactly how through 6 powerful principles that will change how you see yourself and your potential. Chapter 3. Principle number 1. Own your story. Meet Jennifer. She's a school administrator in Atlanta, Georgia. 42 years old. Good job, stable life. But there's a story she tells herself every single day. A story she's been telling for 20 years. I'm not creative. I'm the organized one. My sister got the creative genes. This started in 4th grade. Her sister won an art contest. Jennifer didn't. Her mom said, "That's okay, honey. You're good at different things. You're the practical one." One comment, one moment, and Jennifer built an entire identity around it. She never pursued writing, even though she loved it. Never tried painting, never took that photography class. Why would she? She's not the creative type. Then last year, her therapist asked a simple question. Who decided you're not creative? Jennifer paused. I guess I did. Based on what evidence? Jennifer realized she'd been carrying a story, not a truth. A story she'd accepted at age 9 and never questioned. That week, she bought a journal. Started writing. Just for herself, no pressure, no judgment. 6 months later, she's written 40,000 words. Not publishing, not chasing anything, just proving to herself that the story was wrong. She wasn't uncreative. She was just convinced she was. And conviction becomes reality. Owning your story means recognizing the narrative you tell yourself about who you are isn't objective truth. It's a story you've been repeating until you believed it. Here's what Deepak Gupta emphasizes. Your identity isn't discovered, it's created. You're not born shy or confident, creative or analytical, ambitious or content. You learned these things. Someone told you. You had an experience. You drew a conclusion, and you've been living inside that conclusion ever since. I'm bad at math. Based on what? One bad grade? One teacher who didn't explain it well? I'm not a people person. Says who? Maybe you're just an introvert in an extroverted culture. I can't stick with anything. Or maybe you've been trying things that don't actually matter to you. These stories become self-fulfilling prophecies. You believe you're not creative, so you don't try creative things, so you never develop creative skills, which confirms you're not creative. The cycle continues until you interrupt it. Owning your story means auditing the beliefs you hold about yourself and asking, is this true, or is this just a story I've been telling until I believed it? The application. Ready to own your story? Here's how to start. Action 1. Write your I am statements. Right now, grab paper or open your notes app. Write down every I am statement you believe about yourself. I am shy. I'm bad with money. I'm always late. I'm not good at relationships. Write them all. Don't filter, just brain dump. Now go through each one and ask, where did this come from? Is this based on actual evidence or one experience I've generalized? Is this serving me or limiting me? Circle the ones that are stories, not truths. Those are your redesign opportunities.
Action 2. Rewrite one story this week. Pick one limiting I am statement, just one, then do something that contradicts it. If your story is, I'm bad with money, spend 30 minutes this week learning about budgeting, not implementing a whole financial system, just learning. If your story is, I'm not athletic, take one walk this week. One. You're not trying to become a new person overnight. You're gathering evidence that your story isn't absolute truth. The takeaway. You are not your past. You are the story you tell about your past. Every expert was once a beginner who didn't have a limiting story about what they couldn't do. The first step to redesigning yourself is recognizing that the current design isn't permanent. What's one story you've been telling yourself about who you are? I'm not a morning person. I'm bad at technology. I'm the funny one, not the serious one. Share it in the comments. Sometimes just naming it out loud breaks its power over you. Chapter 4. Principle number 2. Define your non-negotiables. Marcus lives in Chicago. He's 35, works in marketing, makes decent money, but he's miserable. Every Sunday night, he feels that pit in his stomach. Every Monday morning, he fantasizes about quitting. His friends tell him he's lucky, great salary, good benefits. Why would he walk away? But here's what Marcus realizes. He's been making decisions based on everyone else's values, not his own. His parents valued security, so he chose a stable corporate job over a startup opportunity. His college friends valued prestige, so he stayed at a big-name company even when the culture was toxic. His girlfriend valued urban living, so he passed on a remote job that would have let him move near the mountains he loves. One decision at a time, Marcus built a life that checked every box on someone else's list and none of the boxes on his own. Then he does something radical. He writes down his actual non-negotiables, not what he should value, what he actually does. Autonomy. He needs control over his time and decisions. Impact. He needs to see how his work helps people. Nature. He needs regular access to the outdoors. Learning. He needs to be growing, not just executing. Everything else? Negotiable. Salary? Negotiable. Title? Negotiable. Location? Negotiable. Company size? Negotiable. But those 4 things, non-negotiable. With that clarity, Marcus's next career move becomes obvious. He takes a 20% pay cut to join a small environmental nonprofit that gives him full autonomy, direct impact, a hybrid schedule near hiking trails, and constant learning. His parents think he's crazy. His friends think he's throwing away his career. But Marcus, he wakes up on Monday mornings without dread for the first time in a decade. Because he's finally living by his non-negotiables, not everyone else's. Your non-negotiables are the values and conditions you must have to feel fulfilled, not nice-to-haves, must-haves. Deepak Gupta makes a crucial distinction. Most people know what they want. Few people know what they need. You might want money, success, recognition, but what do you actually need to feel alive? Maybe it's creativity. Maybe it's connection. Maybe it's independence. Maybe it's stability. Maybe it's adventure. There's no right answer, but there is your answer. And until you define it, you'll keep making decisions that look good on paper, but feel wrong in your gut. Here's the trap. We adopt values from our culture, our family, our peer group. We pursue goals that society says matter: bigger house, better title, more followers. Then we achieve them and feel empty. Because they weren't our goals, they were borrowed goals. Redesigning yourself requires getting brutally honest about what actually matters to you, even if it's different from what's supposed to matter. Let's define your non-negotiables. Action 1. The deathbed test. Imagine you're 90 years old, looking back on your life. What had to be true for you to feel like you lived well? Not what you accomplished, what you experienced or embodied. Did you need to have built something, helped people, been free, been connected, learned constantly? This isn't about legacy, it's about internal satisfaction. Write down 3 to 5 things that absolutely had to be part of your life for you to die content. Those are your non-negotiables. Action 2. Audit your current life against them. Now look at how you currently spend your time, energy, and money. How many of your non-negotiables are you actually honoring? If connection is a non-negotiable, but you haven't had a meaningful conversation in weeks, there's your gap. If learning is a non-negotiable, but you're in a job where you do the same tasks on repeat, there's your gap. You're not looking to blow up your life. You're looking for the smallest change that brings you closer to alignment. What's one decision you can make this week that honors your actual values? The takeaway. A life built on borrowed values will always feel like borrowed time. You can have anything, but you can't have everything. Choose what matters most. If you could only keep 3 things in your life, 3 values, 3 activities, 3 types of experiences, what would they be? Drop your 3 in the comments. Let's see what really matters to this community. Chapter 5, Principle number 3. Design your environment. Lisa is a writer in Seattle, or at least she wants to be. She works full-time as an accountant. Every night she tells herself she'll write. Every night she doesn't. She comes home exhausted. Her laptop is on the coffee table, right next to the TV remote. Her phone buzzes with notifications. Her roommate asks if she wants to watch a show. Writing requires opening her laptop, finding a document, resisting every distraction. Watching TV requires pressing one button. Guess which one wins? Lisa keeps blaming herself. I just don't have discipline. I'm lazy. I'm not a real writer. Then she reads about environment design, and she makes 3 small changes. She moves her laptop to the kitchen table, away from the TV. She puts her phone in a drawer when she gets home, out of sight. She tells her roommate, "I'm writing from 7 to 8 p.m. Can we watch stuff after?" That's it. 3 tiny environmental changes. Suddenly, writing isn't a battle against her willpower. It's the easiest option in her environment. Within 3 months, she's written 60 pages. Not because she became more disciplined, because she stopped relying on discipline entirely.
Environment design means structuring your physical and social surroundings to make desired behaviors easy and undesired behaviors hard. Here's Deepak Gupta's insight. Willpower is overrated. Environment is underrated. You don't have a discipline problem. You have a design problem. If your goal is to eat healthier, but your kitchen is full of junk food, you're fighting biology. If your goal is to read more, but your phone is always within reach, you're fighting dopamine. If your goal is to exercise, but your gym is 30 minutes away, you're fighting friction. Redesigning yourself isn't about becoming someone with superhuman willpower. It's about becoming someone who designs an environment where the right choices are the easy choices. Think about it. You don't resist brushing your teeth because your toothbrush is right there by the sink. You don't forget to watch TV because the remote is visible. You don't struggle to check your phone because it's always in your pocket. Desired behaviors happen automatically when the environment supports them. The application. Let's redesign your environment. Action 1, make it visible. Whatever behavior you want to do more of, make the trigger visible. Want to drink more water? Put a bottle on your desk. Want to read more? Put a book on your pillow. Want to play guitar? Take it out of the case and put it on a stand where you'll see it. The cue needs to be in your line of sight. If it's out of sight, it's out of mind. Visibility drives behavior. Action 2. Add friction to bad habits. Whatever you want to do less of, make it harder. Want to stop mindless phone scrolling? Delete social apps and only access them via browser, which requires logging in each time. Want to eat junk food? Don't keep it in the house. Make yourself drive to the store if you really want it. Want to stop watching TV for hours? Unplug it after each use so you have to consciously decide to plug it back in. Every step of friction gives your brain a moment to ask, do I really want to do this? The takeaway. You don't rise to the level of your goals. You fall to the level of your environment. Discipline is choosing your environment before you need to rely on willpower. Make the right choice the easy choice, and the wrong choice require effort. What's one change you could make to your environment today that would make a good habit easier? Move something? Remove something? Add something? Tell us in the comments, and then actually do it before you go to bed tonight. Chapter 6. Principle number 4. Embrace discomfort as growth. Tyler is a software developer in Austin, Texas. He's good at his job, maybe too good. He can do his work in his sleep. No challenges, no learning, just comfortable repetition. His manager offers him a chance to lead a project using a new technology stack. It would require learning, risk, possible failure in front of his team. Tyler's first instinct? I don't think I'm ready.
But then he realizes he's been saying "I'm not ready" for 3 years. About leading projects, about speaking at conferences, about applying for senior roles. Not ready has become his comfort zone. So he does something terrifying. He says yes. The first 2 weeks are brutal. He feels stupid. Every meeting exposes what he doesn't know. He stays up late Googling basic concepts. He's convinced everyone thinks he's a fraud. But then something shifts. By week 3, things start clicking. By week 6, he's not just competent, he's innovating. By project end, he's the team expert in the new technology. Looking back, Tyler realizes the discomfort wasn't a sign he was failing, it was a sign he was growing. And now when he feels that stomach-churning anxiety before something new, he doesn't see it as a warning to avoid. He sees it as a compass pointing toward growth. Embracing discomfort means reframing anxiety and uncertainty from threats to avoid into signals that you're expanding your capacity. Deepak Gupta's core insight: comfort is the enemy of transformation. Every version of yourself you've never been lives just outside your comfort zone. You can't become someone new while doing everything the same. But here's what most people do. They feel discomfort and interpret it as, "I shouldn't be doing this." They feel anxious and think, "This isn't for me." They struggle and conclude, "I'm not capable." So they retreat back to what's comfortable, back to what they already know, back to who they already are. And nothing changes. Redesigning yourself requires rewriting what discomfort means. It's not danger, it's data. It's your brain saying, "We've never done this before." That's not a bug, that's the whole point. Think about every skill you have now. At some point, it was uncomfortable. Walking was uncomfortable. Reading was uncomfortable. Driving was uncomfortable. Your current job was uncomfortable on day 1. Discomfort doesn't mean you're doing it wrong. It means you're doing something new, and new is where growth lives. Here's how to start embracing discomfort. Action 1, do one thing this week that scares you. Not recklessly dangerous, strategically uncomfortable. Send the email you've been avoiding. Have the conversation you've been delaying. Try the skill you think you're bad at. Apply for the opportunity you think you're not ready for. You're not doing this to succeed. You're doing this to prove to yourself that discomfort won't kill you. Most of what we avoid isn't actually dangerous. It's just uncomfortable. Learn the difference. Action 2, reframe your anxiety self-talk. When you feel that nervous, stomach-tight anxiety before something, pause. Notice it. Then say this out loud. "This anxiety means I'm growing. My brain thinks this is dangerous because it's new. But new isn't dangerous. New is exactly where I need to be." Sound cheesy? Maybe, but your brain listens to what you tell it. Reframe the sensation from threat to opportunity. Do this enough, and your nervous system starts to believe it.
The takeaway: if it doesn't challenge you, it doesn't change you. Your comfort zone is where dreams go to die. The person you want to become is waiting on the other side of the discomfort you're avoiding. Interactive question: what's something you've been avoiding because it makes you uncomfortable? Public speaking? Starting a business? Having a difficult conversation? A career change? Name it in the comments. Sometimes just admitting what you're avoiding is the first step toward doing it. Chapter 7, Principle number 5. Build systems, not goals. Amy lives in Denver. She's been trying to lose weight for 5 years. Every January, same goal. I'm going to lose 30 pounds this year. Every January, same strategy. Join gym, buy healthy food, start strong. Every March, same result. Fall off track, feel guilty, wait until next January. The problem isn't Amy's motivation, it's her approach. She's focused on the goal, lose 30 pounds, instead of the system that would make it inevitable. This year, Amy tries differently. Instead of lose 30 pounds, she commits to, I walk for 20 minutes every morning before coffee. That's it. No gym membership she won't use, no extreme diet she can't sustain, just one simple system integrated into her existing routine. Morning coffee is non-negotiable for Amy, so she links the walk to it. No walk, no coffee. The first week is hard, but by week 2, it's automatic. By week 4, she actually craves the walk. Her body expects it. 6 months later, Amy has lost 22 pounds. But here's what matters more. She's not on a diet. She's not white-knuckling willpower. She's just living her system. The weight loss is a side effect of a sustainable system, not a goal she's forcing herself toward. Building systems means creating repeatable processes that move you in the right direction, regardless of whether you hit specific targets. Deepak Gupta explains it this way. Goals are destinations. Systems are vehicles. Everyone wants to reach the destination, but the people who get there are the ones who build reliable vehicles. Here's the problem with goals. They're binary. You either hit them or you don't, and if you don't, you feel like a failure, even if you made significant progress. Goals are also finite. You hit your goal, celebrate for a week, and then ask, now what? You lose the weight, but then gain it back because the goal is done, but the system wasn't sustainable. Systems are different. Systems are ongoing. You don't fail a system, you just keep running it. Systems focus on behavior, not outcomes. And behavior is the only thing you fully control. You can't control whether you lose 30 pounds. Genetics, stress, sleep, age, so many factors affect that outcome. But you can control whether you walk every morning. That's your system. And if you run that system long enough, the outcomes take care of themselves. The application. Let's build your system. Action 1. Identify your if-then routine. Think about the change you want to make. Now turn it into a simple if-then statement linked to something you already do. If I finish my coffee, then I journal for 5 minutes. If I close my laptop at night, then I prepare my workout clothes for tomorrow. If I eat lunch, then I read for 10 minutes. You're not creating a new standalone habit. You're linking it to an existing behavior. This is called habit stacking, and this is how systems become automatic. Action 2. Focus on showing up, not on outcomes. For the next 30 days, measure only one thing. Did you run your system? Not did I lose weight, but did I walk? Not did I write a great page, but did I write? Not did I learn a lot, but did I study? Detach your self-worth from outcomes you can't control. Attach it to systems you can. Trust that the right system, repeated long enough, produces the right outcome. The takeaway. You don't rise to your goals, you fall to your systems. Winners and losers have the same goals. What differs are their systems. Focus on the inputs you control, and the outputs take care of themselves. What's one tiny system you could start today that would move you toward the person you want to become? Drop it in the comments. Make it so small you can't fail. That's the point. Consistency beats intensity every time. Chapter 8. Principle number 6. Become your future self now. Carlos is 28, lives in Miami, works in hospitality management. He has a dream. He wants to own his own restaurant. But he keeps saying, someday. Someday when I have more money. Someday when I have more experience. Someday when the timing is right. Meanwhile, he shows up to his current job with this is just temporary attitude. Doesn't invest in learning, doesn't build relationships, doesn't take initiative. After all, why go all in on something that's not his dream? Then his mentor asks him a question that changes everything. He asks, how would the owner of a successful restaurant show up to work each day? Carlos thinks about it and says, he'd care about every detail. He'd treat every customer like a VIP. He'd learn from every problem. He'd build relationships with vendors and staff. He'd innovate constantly.
So why aren't you doing that now? Because I don't own a restaurant. I'm just a manager. Exactly. You're waiting to become that person, but you need to be that person to become him. Carlos gets it. He's been waiting for circumstances to change before he changes, but it works the opposite way. Starting the next day, Carlos shows up like an owner. He treats the restaurant like it's his. He takes pride in every detail. He innovates. He builds relationships. He learns obsessively. Within 18 months, the restaurant owner notices, offers Carlos a partnership stake. 3 years later, Carlos opens his first restaurant. Not because circumstances changed, because he changed first. Becoming your future self now means embodying the identity and behaviors of the person you want to become, starting immediately, rather than waiting for external validation or perfect conditions. This is Deepak Gupta's most powerful principle. You don't need permission to become who you want to be. You don't need credentials. You don't need circumstances to align. You just need to start acting like that person today. Most people think identity follows results. When I achieve X, then I'll be Y. When I publish a book, then I'll be a writer. When I get promoted, then I'll be a leader. When I lose weight, then I'll be healthy. But it actually works in reverse. Identity drives behavior, and behavior drives results. You become a writer by writing. You become a leader by leading. You become healthy by making healthy choices. The version of yourself you're trying to become isn't waiting for you at the finish line. That person is available right now. You just have to step into that identity. The application. Here's how to become your future self today. Action 1. Answer, what would future you do? Define who you want to become. The confident professional, the disciplined athlete, the creative entrepreneur, the present parent. Give that version of you a clear identity. Then, before every decision this week, ask, what would that identity do in this situation? Would they hit snooze or get up? Would they scroll or read? Would they complain or find solutions? You're not pretending to be someone you're not. You're trying on the identity to see how it fits. Act as if, and eventually, it becomes true. Action 2, change your language. Stop saying, I want to be, or I'm trying to be. Start saying, I am. Not, I want to be a runner. Say, I am a runner, and then run. Not, I'm trying to be more organized. Say, I am organized, and then organize one thing. Your brain responds to declarative statements. When you say, I am, you activate that identity. Then your behavior aligns to match. Language shapes identity. Identity shapes behavior. Behavior shapes results. The takeaway: you don't find yourself, you create yourself. Waiting for permission to become who you want to be is permission to stay who you are. Act like the person you want to become, and eventually you'll become them. Who is your future self? Describe them in 3 words, then tell us one thing that person would do differently than you did today. Share in the comments. Declaring it publicly makes it real. Chapter 9. Frequently asked questions. Let's answer the questions you're probably asking right now. Question 1. How long does it actually take to redesign yourself? I've tried before and nothing sticks. Here's the honest answer. It depends on what you're changing and how consistent you are, but research suggests new habits take anywhere from 18 to 254 days to become automatic. The average is 66 days. But here's the more important truth. Redesigning yourself isn't a one-time event. It's a lifelong practice. You're not trying to transform overnight and then be done. You're building a new relationship with change itself. Start with one principle from this video. Give it 60 days of consistent practice. Don't try to overhaul everything simultaneously. That's why past attempts failed. You got overwhelmed and quit. This time, pick one thing. Own your story, or define your non-negotiables, or design your environment. Master that one thing before adding another. Small, sustained changes compound over time. You're not building a new you by next month. You're becoming a person who continuously evolves. That's the real transformation. Question 2. What if I don't know who I want to become? I'm just confused about everything. This is more common than you think, and it's completely okay. You don't need perfect clarity to start. In fact, action creates clarity more often than clarity creates action. Here's what you do. Start by identifying who you don't want to be. What behaviors, values, or lifestyle make you miserable? List them. Then experiment with the opposite. Don't like feeling stagnant? Try learning something new each week. Don't like feeling isolated? Try connecting with one person more deeply. Don't like feeling reactive? Try designing 1 hour of your day intentionally. You discover who you want to become through experimentation, not meditation. Also talk to people living lives you find interesting. Not to copy them, but to see what resonates. Pay attention to moments when you feel energized versus drained. Those are clues. Your future self emerges through exploration, not a lightning bolt of clarity. Give yourself permission to try things on and see what fits. Question 3. I have responsibilities, kids, mortgage, aging parents. I can't just redesign my life. That's for people with freedom. I hear you. And you're right that your circumstances create constraints. But constraints don't eliminate choice. They just change what choices are available. Redesigning yourself doesn't mean blowing up your life. It means optimizing within your reality. You might not be able to quit your job and travel the world, but you can change how you show up to that job. You might not have hours for yourself, but you can claim 15 minutes for something that matters. You might not be able to move cities, but you can change your environment in small ways. The principles in this video work at any scale. Own your story? You can do that in your head during your commute. Define your non-negotiables helps you make better decisions within your constraints. Design your environment? Start with your bedroom or your morning routine. You're not looking for permission to abandon responsibility. You're looking for agency within responsibility. Some of the most powerful transformations happen in the margins of busy lives, not in the absence of obligation. Start where you are with what you have.
Question 4. What if the people in my life don't support my changes? My family thinks I'm being selfish. This is real and painful. When you change, it disrupts the system around you. People are used to you being a certain way, and your evolution can feel threatening to them.
Sometimes it's because they'll need to adjust. Sometimes it's because your growth highlights their stagnation. Here's what to remember. You're not responsible for other people's comfort with your growth. You can be compassionate, but you can't shrink yourself to make others comfortable. Have honest conversations. Explain why this matters to you. Invite them to understand, but don't require their permission. If people truly love you, they'll adapt. If they don't, you'll learn who's in your corner. Also, find your people. Join communities, online or local, of people on similar journeys. You need support, and if you can't get it at home, find it elsewhere. Redesigning yourself sometimes means redesigning your circle. That's not selfish, that's self-preservation. You get one life, live it as yourself, not as who others need you to be. Chapter 10, Final Message. Your redesign starts today. So here we are. You started this video at 3 in the morning, metaphorically. Stuck, frustrated, living a life that doesn't quite feel like yours. Now you have a blueprint. 6 principles that can change everything. Own your story. Stop accepting the limiting beliefs you've carried since childhood. Question every I am statement that holds you back. Define your non-negotiables. Get clear on what you actually need, not what you should want, but what you genuinely need to feel alive and fulfilled. Design your environment. Stop relying on willpower. Structure your world so the right choices are the easy choices. Embrace discomfort. Reframe anxiety from a stop sign into a compass pointing towards growth. Build systems, not goals. Focus on the daily behaviors you can control and trust the outcomes to follow. Become your future self now. Stop waiting for permission or perfect conditions. Step into that identity today. These aren't just strategies. They're a complete framework for personal transformation. But here's what I need you to understand. Information without action is just entertainment. You can watch this video, feel inspired for 20 minutes, then go back to your life unchanged. Most people will. Or you can do something different. You can choose one principle, just one, and commit to it for the next 30 days. Not all 6, not a complete life overhaul, just one principle. One small, consistent practice that proves to yourself that change is possible. Because here's the truth nobody tells you. You don't need to redesign your entire life at once. You need to redesign one day, and then do it again tomorrow. One day of owning your story instead of accepting it. One day of honoring your non-negotiables instead of everyone else's expectations. One day of designing your environment to support who you want to become. One day of leaning into discomfort instead of running from it. One day of running your system regardless of how you feel. One day of showing up as your future self instead of waiting to become them. Do that for 30 days and you'll be amazed at what shifts. Not just externally. Your circumstances might not look radically different, but internally, you'll feel different, more intentional, more aligned, more like the author of your life instead of a character in someone else's story. And that internal shift, that's where everything begins. Let me tell you something. The version of you that you dream about, more confident, more disciplined, more purposeful, more free, that person isn't waiting for you somewhere in the future. They're available right now, today, this moment. You don't become that person by achieving something. You become that person by deciding to be them and then acting accordingly. Every single day is a choice. You can wake up and live reactively, responding to emails, scrolling feeds, going through the motions. Or you can wake up and live intentionally, designing each day to reflect who you're becoming. The redesign doesn't start when circumstances are perfect. It starts when you decide enough is enough. When you stop saying someday and start saying today. When you stop waiting for motivation and start building systems. When you stop living the rough draft and start writing the final version.
That moment is now. Not next Monday when you're ready. Not January 1st when you have fresh start energy. Not after you finish this project, lose this weight, save this money, or achieve this goal. Now. Because every day you wait is another day living as a version of yourself you've already outgrown. I know change is scary. I know it's uncomfortable. I know it requires letting go of familiar patterns, even painful ones, because at least they're known. But you know what's scarier? Looking back 5 years from now and realizing nothing changed. Realizing you had the blueprint, the knowledge, the capability, and you just didn't do it. Don't let that be your story. Deepak Gupta wrote Redesign Yourself because he believes, and I believe, that you are not fixed. You are not stuck. You are not limited by your past, your circumstances, or your current identity. You are malleable. You are capable. You are exactly one decision away from a completely different life trajectory. That decision is simple. Will you redesign yourself, or will you keep living as the default version that circumstances created? I already know your answer. You wouldn't have watched this entire video if you were content staying the same. You're here because something in you knows you're meant for more. Knows there's a version of yourself that's bolder, freer, more authentic, more aligned. That version is calling you. And today, you answer. So here's what you're going to do. Close this video. Don't just let it autoplay to the next one. Take out your phone or grab a piece of paper. Write down one principle from today that resonated most. Then, write down one action, one specific, concrete action you'll take in the next 24 hours to practice that principle. Not, I'll think about it, not, I'll try. Write down what you will do, when you will do it, and how you'll know you did it. Then, do it. Tomorrow, do it again. The next day, again. 30 days. That's all I'm asking. 30 days of redesigning one small part of your life. Do that, and you'll prove to yourself that change isn't just possible. It's inevitable when you commit to it. You've got this. I believe in you. Not because I know you personally, but because I know this. The fact that you're here, learning, seeking, growing, that already makes you different from most people. Most people have resigned themselves to who they are. You haven't. You're still fighting for who you could be. That fight, that's everything. That's the difference between people who transform and people who stagnate. Keep fighting. Keep showing up. Keep redesigning. Your future self is counting on you.